Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. There's something I've been talking about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago when Anthony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, visited India. Maybe it was more than 3 weeks ago, visited India and had that 2+2 meeting with the Indian. I had to read this gentleman's name because I have a hard time using it. Ministry of External Affairs, Sabrahamayam Jai Shankar. Jai Shankar. This is a fantastic gentleman from India. He's a diplomat, Minister of External Affairs. So Blinken had a press conference in front of the press, obviously, with the foreign minister of India, and Mr. Jaishankar was very feisty, direct, and very intelligent, more so than Blinken, unfortunately, because Blinken is supposedly in my team, but I would definitely have a swap. I would pay for that swap, just going like that. Jaishankar here, Blinken, not to India. I don't mean harm to India, but maybe unemployed Blinken. All right, so and why was that meeting? The Americans were trying to persuade India to join their coalition and forget about buying fossil fuels from Russia and isolate Russia and blah blah blah. Well, Modi did not want to do that. He said, no, 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 we're not going to do this. So now, exactly after that, I said, okay, because you know what the dynamics of the big club. You know how the big club functions. The big club functions, tells you to do something. You don't want to do what he says, for the club, no? And then they're going to start threatening and blackmailing you. And then how they do that? They first start pointing out that you are not as good as you should be, which means that since you're not good and I'm in your business, but you can't be in my business, I would tell you that you are not good there, you're not good there, therefore, you're a not good country. So we're going to impose some sanctions on you because you're not a good country. Now, after all this being said, I was saying that after that discussion between the Indians and the Americans will start playing their game. They will find something about Modi, Jai Shankar, or the Indian society that's not perfect. Now let's start with this thing. There's no human being who's perfect. There's no country that's perfect. Each and every country on this planet has, how should I put it, does not live up to its ideals. None of us, none of the countries. The problem is that you have one country who always blames other countries of not fulfilling their ideals, but neither they do. Neither this country does. It still has problems in the society, in the economy. It still has corruption. It has politicians, weasels, and so on. It's a structure. It's a structural problem. I'm not going to mention this and that because we all know them. But my point is this is not a perfect country. It's great, but not perfect. Other countries are great too, not perfect. But for this country to go and point out fingers all the time to other countries saying, you are not respecting those, you are not respecting that, you lack that, you have corruption, when they have as well their share of, misgivings, it's very irritating. And here we go. Now, I saw the signs after that meeting. They tried to create problems in India with the minorities. The rights of minorities are not respected. Therefore, you guys, don't respect the human rights of minorities. Could be, and that's not a good thing. But for you to point out like you are the daddy and everybody's the kitty, and you tell them everybody how they should be when you are not living up to your aspirations, spare me. So here we have Reuters, June 3rd, 2022. U.S. says some Indian officials ignoring or supporting attacks on minorities. All right. Should we use the, let's say, the shootings here in the United States, for instance, maybe we can make it on certain groups, like saying, okay, certain groups are victims or targeted. Should we make that leap? Should we say that? Can the Indians say that? The Chinese already said that. The Chinese government said that. Why don't you focus on your things and leave us alone? But they're strong. They can say that. But imagine Montenegro saying that to America. Will disappear overnight. So New Delhi, some officials in India are ignoring or even supporting rising attacks. Now the thing is like this. I hate when there's knowledge of abuse, but it's kept quiet because they are cooperating with you. But once they're not cooperating, not following the script, immediately all these human rights violations or abuses are brought into light. That's a weasel way. So if you are really, for human rights and truth, justice, blah blah blah, things like this, then you call it out whenever you see it. You don't wait for it because now the country cooperates with you and you have an interest. Like for instance, United States and Saudi Arabia, they cooperate. They talk about human rights and point fingers, not to Saudi Arabia yet. Why? Because they're cooperating. And that happened with many countries where the United States had, dictators. They cooperated with Saddam Hussein when it was the Iran war, wasn't it? Iraq and Iran. Not only that, they provided with some they did some chemistry, if you remember. Who provided Saddam with chemical weapons? Do you remember? I mean, we have names. Nevertheless, let's move on. So this is not fair. This is not as they appear to be. Oh, we're for the this and that, but then you support regimes that are brutal. But when they don't do what you say, all of a sudden say, hey, they're brutal. But you knew that 50 years already, 40 years, the same here. They come up with certain things. I remember George Bush II, that guy, who only when he got to be reelected, not elected, reelected as the US president, they came up with certain dirt on him that he dodged going to, I don't know, Vietnam or wherever he was supposed to do. He dodged that. He went to the National Guard. Those things were well known. They didn't use it at the first campaign, the first election. They used it the second. Why? It was available. It was not like it was, how do you call it? The archives were open only at the second time when he ran for president. But they kept it. So when they said that, I blame the people who came and told me that. Not here. He was a weasel. And he was as he was, below 86 IQ, that's certain. And he graduated Yale and Harvard. But the guys who came up after the first term giving dirt, providing dirt, because he didn't do what he was supposed to, probably. What is that? So nevertheless, let's continue with this one. All right, so it says that even supporting some officials rising attacks on people and places of worship in the country, a U.S. official said late on Thursday, drawing an angry reaction from New Delhi, which called the comments ill-informed. Okay, the remarks by Rashad Hussain, who leads the U.S. State Department efforts to monitor religious freedoms around the world, accompanied the department's annual report on global religious freedom. It said attack on members of minority communities, including killings, assaults, and intimidation occurred throughout last year in India. And I didn't say anything but now. These included cow vigilantism, assaults on the non-Hindu for allegedly slaughtering cows or targeting or trading in beef. Oh my God. Many Hindus who account for about 80% of India's 1.35 billion people consider cows sacred. Some Indian officials were ignoring or even supporting rising attacks on people and places of worship, Hussain said. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the report showed religious freedom and the rights of religious minorities were under threat around the world. For example, he said, I'm quoting, in India, the world's largest democracy and home of a great diversity of faiths, we've seen rising attacks on people and places of worship, Blinken said, after he got knocked out by Jai Shankar a month ago. Of course, now he's upset because he was showed how shallow he is. So yeah, I hate this kind of things when, that that house is, let's say, abuse, sexual abuse, child abuse, but you don't say anything. Why? Because he's your friend, and he, I know, you drink with that guy or whatever. And one time that guy steps, crosses you the wrong way, and then you go and make a report to the police and say, hey, that guy abuses his child for the past 5 years. Oh, how did you know? And you come only now because now you're in bad terms with him. Yes, yes. You don't see the not, I don't want to say irony, the crime behind this. The same with these guys. Keep mouth shut. Now you didn't follow the script. Hey, you're a bad dude. I'm going to uncover this like I'm pure or something. Oh, so much dirt. It's dirty, ugly. Thank you for being with me again today. I know India will not succumb. Probably they already tried some regime change and they will keep trying, but I don't know if that's going to be successful, like in Pakistan. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See ya.